Hello and welcome to AWS Certified Solution Architect course. In this video, we will discuss other entities of IAM service. So now we will discuss about identity providers. So identity providers can be any identity source like Active Directory or some public source like Facebook, anything. So there are two options here. We can select SAML or OpenID Connect. So in this case, let's select SAML. SAML is a protocol for accessing the resources, AWS resources, from by getting authentication from an identity provider. So in provider name, we can give some name to provider, and we need to upload the metadata file, metadata document from the identity provider. And once it is done, we need to verify that and we can configure provider. So this is a very rare scenario in which we need to federate our AWS environment with some external identity provider. Hence, we will not do it right now. However, I will give you a description how it works. So let me open up a picture that will describe how it works. So suppose you have an organization where you have some LDAP based identity source, and some user want to use that identity source to access AWS resources. So for a user to use that identity resource, identity store, he should be having some account into that identity store. So suppose we have an Active Directory environment and the user is having a correct permission within the Active Directory environment and a user account in the Active Directory. So the first thing user will do, he will send a request to identity provider through a portal. And for Active Directory, we generally use Active Directory Federation services to federate the identity provider with AWS. So here it will ask in the ADFS portal, the user will enter its credential and it will be sent to identity provider for verification. So once the identity provider gets the credential, it will query the LDAP based identity store. So once it is verified at the LDAP based identity store, it will return to identity provider with a success message, and after that the identity provider sends the client SAML assertion. So SAML is a protocol that is used in such scenarios. So once the SAML assertion is reached to client, now the client will assume role with SAML to AWS. So once that request, the call request reaches the AWS, it will create a secure token service known as STS at the AWS level, and it will provide a temporary security credentials. And once that temporary security credential for a particular resource reaches to customer, the customer can use the same security credential to access the resource. For example, in this picture demonstration, the user got a security credential for Amazon S3 bucket. So once it will receive the security credential, it can access the Amazon S3 bucket. So This concludes this identity provider. So now we will move to other entities of identity and access management. The next entity is account settings. So here you can set some password policies and apply some restriction so that passwords can be secure, and the users must be prompted for some strong to create some strong password for their security. So as you see here, the minimum password length is 6. So we have not set it. However, we can give our details, like we want the password minimum password length to be 8, require at least one uppercase, at least one lowercase, at least one number, one alphanumeric character, allow users to change their own password, enable password expiration, and prevent password reuse, password expiration request, administrator reset. So all these settings we can do it here. Apart from that, there are security token service regions. So there are some regions which have been identified for security token services. So they are listed here. So this is how you can make password policy changes to your AWS environment and make the passwords for user more secure. After that, we have a tab called credential report. So we can download report of credential report. Let's download and see what it contains. It usually have the user details. What are the users which are created? So we will just open it and check what is there in this report. So as you can see, all the user details has been mentioned here in the credential report. So we created one user Bob in previous lectures, so that is also present here, and there are other parameters that has been mentioned here. So this will give an overview of what are the accounts present in our AWS infrastructure and when they were accessed and when was the password last changed, next rotation supported, or MFA is enabled or not. So this will give a high level view of the account details. So the next topic is encryption keys. So AWS always also use key management services, and here you can create some encryption keys, and it can be encrypted with AWS services, and it will provide more security to your AWS services. So that is also present here. So if you want, you can create some encryption keys and make your AWS services more secure. So this concludes the IAM lecture. Thank you for listening.